This is the July 2019 Advisory Board meeting of the Collective HR Solutions Group. So, first thing on our agenda, let me bring up my screen, it'd be a good idea, is a quick go around the room, so to speak, on everybody's kind of what's new, what's everybody doing these days. So, let's just start. Jennifer, you started, so let me ask. You are now going by Jennifer Thayer, correct? Would you prefer that from now on?
Because of the Lyme, I've been too tired to go down to Social Security, so.
Okay.
So I've informally.
Well, you're not getting a whole lot of checks from me yet, so.
So we don't have to worry.
Okay.
I'm a woman currently known as Jennifer Naylor, and in the future, hopefully, we'll go back to my name. So anyway, yeah. The last couple of months, I have been working through a Lyme disease relapse and my mother.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I know, right? If it's not one thing, it's your mother. And so now that that's sort of clearing up, I am conducting board performance evaluations for a couple of local not-for-profits up here, and have been doing a little not-for-profit advisement work on the Catch a Fire platform and writing proposals for Cal Kappa with a group that knows together. That's it.
Good deal. Outstanding. So I was going to take a wild guess, and Amanda, I knew it was going to be you. Anybody who'd sign in and say, it's Monday, it's got to be Amanda.
Thank you.
Well, welcome to the group here. So we were just going around, and Jennifer just finished up on her quick updates. So let me ask you, what's on in your life? She's got a few things to tell us that happened since the last time we talked. So.
Oh, you're just talking about I got married, but beside the point, the important stuff is.
I'm going to tell Bob that. What was important?
Hopefully he heard me.
Yes.
No, we have a new VP at our organization, so you know how it is when there's a changing of the guard. Things change at light speed, and you're not sure which direction you're going some days. So we are implementing a lot of change to harmonize 3 companies, something that they are pretty resistant to change on, and that's kind of our fun events this year.
Very good. Very good. So Dan, let me go to you. Just a quick update on life in general.
Well, life in general is very good. There's really not too much new here other than the fact that I'm now fully retired and enjoying life.
Which means he and I can do more coffee and more thinking.
That is correct.
It's a good thing. Sounds good. Let me see. So, Bruce, why don't you go ahead and let us know what's going on in your world as well?
Okay, no, thanks, guys. Well, I moved into a new home at the end of May, so that's pretty much consumed me and my wife just trying to get our feet on the ground and get acclimated to that. So that's been my primary activity. I've taught a couple of classes. I had to teach a class in San Francisco and where else? I guess where else? And I got to go to New York at the end of the month and teach a class or so there. So pretty mild time of the year, just trying to kind of get used to a new environment. So that's about what's up with me.
Good deal. Alex, I'm going to put you on the spot. What's new?
Hi, everyone. I'm Alex. I am a several-year friend of Nove's and also his web designer, and been very, very busy in all things to do with respect to web development. I'm based in Las Vegas, and yeah, having a great time.
Good deal.
I thought that movie was great. Nove, on the site.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think we're making some real progress, and again, a good portion
beautiful.
of today's meeting is going to be a lot of what we're trying to do with the website as a kind of pushing point for a lot of things. So, and Patrick, certainly, please tell us what's up with you these days.
Hey everyone, I'm not doing much. I'm enjoying a good summer break, and I'm looking forward to seeing progress and getting back to work.
Good deal. All righty. And you're going to hear everything about new on my side as we go through the thing, so we'll skip that one. So let me bring up this group to, I'll say up to speed to a degree, although continuing on a daily basis, things seem to change. So let me start with the big one sitting out there that Bruce and Jennifer and I are involved with right now. We're the CalCAPA, which was a nonprofit organization that literally handles 60 agencies in the California world. All those agencies are what they call community action programs. They are dealing with the impoverished in their community. They're doing things all over the place. So we had the opportunity to go up and meet with them in Sacramento, Bruce and I and Tim. We came back with some really interesting insights, but they are very eager and somewhat hungry, I guess is the right word. And I'm hoping we play a great part in this. The technology that they're using and the things that people are doing at the agency level are very, very rudimentary. We started with training, and that's what we won as the contract, is to provide training around things like community action programs, measurements, human resource management, board management, leadership, data and analytics, and so on. But we feel pretty strongly that we're going to be able to branch out. And I'm going to say this to you guys when we get to the point about talking about the website. We have an opportunity to also put other types of training that we feel that this organization could provide to those agencies on a marketplace. Now, Jennifer and another lady who's working with us, Tracy Kawa, have formatted 2 classes that we can put out on this new marketplace. But I'd like to see about us maybe adding additional things that Collective HR Solutions can do, and I'll get that in a little more detail when we get to the part about the website. But we're waiting. We had 2 requests so far. It is a lengthy process. They ask us, can you do this? Then we respond, and then it takes them forever to make up their mind. But eventually, we have a 2-year contract with them. So I guess I'm not going to say we're in month 2 of a 2-year contract, so I'm not too overly concerned yet. But we'll see. But I do believe that we have a great opportunity to take some technology to this group. And so for the meeting with the executive director and the gentleman in charge of training was very, very positive. So Bruce, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
No, I that's a good summary, No. I mean, I think it's we spent a lot of time talking about this already, so we could certainly spend a lot more. Dealing with the government's always an interesting issue, and we have somebody on our team who's had a lot of experience with that, so helps us kind of navigate. But so it's interesting to see how much you kind of need to invest and how that leads and how you build relationships. A little bit different, at least from my experience, from the private sector. So I think we're learning a little bit as we go along, and I think we're certainly off on the right foot with these guys.
Yeah, I would agree. Absolutely. So Lalu, which is a local printing business in the Burlingame area for us here, their CHRO is a longtime friend of mine, so I'm helping them do an evaluation. Interesting enough, they started out with, they're coming off ADP. We had UltiPro, we had Paylocity, we had ADP as an incumbent coming back and talking to them, and a couple of the folks that we sent out RFIs for that were not a great fit. But it's coming down, and we're going to talk this afternoon. Again, they'll be making a decision between UltiPro and Paylocity. And Paylocity, if you notice on my vendors list, is a new one for me to talk to you guys about. But there's some really good opportunities. And if you've not heard of them, go out and take a look at their website. But you'll be hearing a lot more about them soon enough. Same thing with KeyPoint Credit Union. They were a prospect over 2 years ago. I've been in touch with them. They've been attending some of my webinars. They are an Ascentus client. They didn't go to the Ascentus conference where I did a keynote in April, but they heard about it. And so they called me right back and said, "We need your help. Please help us. We want off of Ascentus," which was not the greatest thing for the Ascentus people to hear. But nonetheless, they are now in the process of evaluating Ceridian. They actually looked at ADP, Workforce Now, so they kind of liked it. They're also looking at Paylocity and Ultimate. So we're going to be talking at the end of this week to make a decision from the top 2 and then go into final demonstrations of that. Both this and Lalu have implementation behind that. So, shall we say, myself and maybe at least one other person is going to get dragged into this for a couple of reasons, depending upon who they select. I want to mention the Third Bridge, GuidePoint, and Primary Insight. These are all research firms. All three of them have been using me and making, phone calls with investors. They're both institutional and startup, or not vendors, but startup investors who work with these research companies trying to figure out where they want to put their bucks. And so every once in a while they'll get a client who'll say, I need to know more about HCM, or I need to know more about the PEO space, or I need to know more about ADP, Cornerstone, whatever it is. I'm on their list. I would ask any one of you guys, if you are interested in doing so, please let me know for two reasons. Number one, there's a referral fee, and I'd love to be able to say, let me bring you guys to the right place, tell you how to work it. I'll get a referral, I'll split the stuff, whatever the case may be. But the point of it is, I'd like them to understand that they're getting these through Collective HR Solutions as well. Because again, what I'm looking for ways that you as a group of people, a brain trust as I call it, are really smart people in your own endeavors. And if I can help to use that smarts and push it out and put it in the right channels and helps you, helps me, I'm happy to do that. So if you're thinking about it or would like to be part of that, it's a phone call. I have to make myself a whopping hour availability for, $150, $200 an hour. So it's not a bad thing. I'll put it to you that way. And right now, Third Bridge is probably my most active one. Primary Insight, I've had a couple of requests, but they're not working as hard as I saw Third Bridge. But it's not a bad gig, and like I say, you are amongst many people they can choose from. But I'd love to be able to say that after a while, every time they call somebody from Collective HR Solutions, they're getting some real smarts on the other end of the phone. So let me know if you're deciding they want to do that. Career Site Scorecard. There's a lady that I worked with and was on the OHUG board with me for a while, Carrie Hollick. The two of us did a job last year for Tailored Brands, the owners of Men's Wearhouse and that. We came out of that gig, and it was interesting. We looked at the website, we looked at Taleo, a couple of things. But when we came out of this thing and quite literally came up with an idea of simply going to people's career sites and giving them a scorecard on what's good about it and what's not that good about it. And we're looking at things like ease of use, just the aesthetics of the site, some perspective of website design, and so on, just a lot of components. Well, SciAps, where the CHRO is a longtime friend of mine from Twilio, she heard about it, she loved it, and she said, would you mind taking a look at our website? We're in the process of doing it. We're getting called back to do Tailored Brands one more time in a more detailed fashion. Lalu is next on there, and Keypoint is also next on there for the career sites. So I'm going to ask any of you who have clients that you think could use a quick problem solving around their career site, let me know that as well. It's a very simple process. Carrie and I have priced this. It's about, we're making it just under $5,000, but what's interesting is at the end of the day, they get a deliverable regardless of the scorecard. In other words, it's you're doing a wonderful job and here's why, or you're doing a horrible job and here's why, and somewhere in between. And so far, it's getting some pretty good insights and some pretty good accolades. So think about it. If you've got some people you want to run into it, if this gets bigger than a bread box, we will probably bring others to the table. And so, it's probably about 20 to 25 hours of work per person, and I think it's fairly well appropriately priced. So I'm going to stop at that point and say that's what's happening on the consulting side. Questions, comments, anything on that nature?
No, everybody, this is Jennifer. No, I love what the scorecard thing is just, this is amazing. I have actually applied to a few jobs and been shocked at what companies, how they're filtering. It's horrifying, actually. And so what's coming up for me is this an easy sell or partnership with Glassdoor or any one of the job sites? I'm sure you've thought about that.
I have thought about it. To tell you the truth, I think let's call it the secret sauce. It takes the observations that Carrie and I have put together. It's not something I could do tons of. I'd rather teach people like you guys how this thing works, and if you will, like I say, the brain trust that's here to be able to apply this and try to do it for the likes of a Glassdoor and that. What's interesting is I understand what you're saying. It could be a moneymaker all the way around. There's no doubt about it. But I think what's sitting behind here, and I'm really expecting this is going to happen with SIOPs minimally and probably tailored brands, is that once we come back, and here's the scorecard, if you're sitting in front of the person who's owning talent acquisition, and that's exactly who we're working with both of those, there is work to be done. In other words, if it's yellow or red, somebody's got to do it. And 9 times out of 10 are drawing it to their attention. If they knew about it, they still haven't done nothing about it, but we're telling them the impact it's having on the candidate experience and possibly why they're not getting the right people or not enough or whatever. And so there's more consulting. So I think this is kind of I won't call it a lost leader because it's not at all, but it is a tip of the iceberg for what I think this group could do for everything, including all the way down to the systems in the back end they're using for ATS, maybe even evaluations of additional different systems, or our ability to bring some of our emerging techs to the either a pilot or as part of a solution. So I think I want to concentrate on that kind of angle. If it really took off and it really made a lot of sense, then I maybe would go down the road you just suggested. But
okay,
right now,
go ahead.
No, it's just go ahead, Jennifer.
Oh, you sure? Okay. Yeah, so Nova, follow up on that. Can you just schedule maybe a 15 or 20-minute walkthrough for those of us who are interested and might have people who pitch to show us what it looks like and just give us some talking points? And
absolutely.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I'll schedule that with our group here, and like I say, I'll call it a little proprietary in the sense that I would keep it to this group only.
Sure.
But to your point, if I can tell you more about it, you could be our front end salespeople, and we have absolutely no problem about sharing referrals. So that works.
Super. Thank you. Go ahead, Bruce.
Yeah, no, this is Bruce. I was just thinking, are you looking any broader than the websites, or are you looking at other channels, any of the social media channels and how they tie into the website and and their communication strategy and stuff, where you just limit yourself to the website?
Yeah, exactly. So, for example, SIOPS has talked about really wanting to build a community of people because they don't have a ton of openings, but when they do, they're very specific. They're moving from a development and engineering organization to that of building a product for oncology, and then so they're looking for clinicians and so on that they'd never hired before. So they're trying to build communities of people. We go out and look at their competitors if there are people like that. We try to figure out what they do differently, and social media is certainly a very big part of that. So if you want to build a community, what's a better place? Is it LinkedIn? It's not Facebook, but LinkedIn, or do you build your own in the site? Why would you do it? How do you keep it energized? So the point of it is we are trying very hard to understand I guess I would say, how you present yourself as both a company and as opportunities. And you would be frightened when, Jennifer, you went through the process and you said it well. I'm horrified when I go in there and they said, tailored brand, I had to go through the 400 years of history to find out that they had any openings. It was just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I'm here looking for a job. I don't care what you did. I want to know who you are and what you got for me. So it's like, so anyway. So yeah, it was an interesting sojourn, if you will. But yeah, the social media aspect has in fact, like I say, if I were going to add some people in there, I might get 1 or 2 really, really talented social media people to be joining us to get into that side of the house as well. Okay, any other questions about the consulting side? Okay, well then let me go to the vendors. So again, Amanda has been in these before. I certainly have. Tim has been in a couple of these. Roy has been in a couple for the BWG. The gentleman, Greg Irwin, who owns the BWG Strategy Calls, it is a group of investors sitting on a call listening to people like me or users of a system that's being talked about. They do this for learning platforms, they do this for HCM platforms, they do it for lots of different things, performance and so on. again, if any of you want to be part of it, I will tell you there's no money in it, except that I've gotten some really good connections to it and a couple of clients the hard way. But when you're out there talking about what you really think what's going on in the market, what you feel about a vendor, Amanda's been pretty key in saying what she feels about a lot of the products, and a lot of people are listening and agreeing. So you've got peers out there that are talking about their perspectives and where the market is going, and that's what the vendors want to hear. And it's really not, it's not fluff, it's not marketing. It is truly, here's what I've experienced, and this is why I feel this is going this way or that way. Pretty interesting place to spend an hour. It's pretty interesting. I learn a lot through the process. So again, if any of you are interested in joining, they're always looking for new people to add to it. So I would be happy to. Like I say, I consider this a brain trust. Absolutely, there's no doubt. So having you guys as part of this is always a good thing. As I mentioned, Paylocity. Tim and I have been asked to go meet with their senior management in Chicago in two weeks, or next week. I'm sorry. The reason is because 3 of the salespeople here in California and one of the guys out of Chicago know what I do, and they have been very excited about my thoughts about the product. They gave me a private demo. I was really quite enthused by what I saw, and I have some ideas about what they could be doing. They are very hungry for partners, and this is where I think the emerging technology folks, our TRC folks, are going to end up first and foremost. And so Tim and I are going out to Chicago to meet with their senior folks, and coming back with hopefully good contacts, some opportunities for us to, shall we say, bring some new vendors to the table, make Paylocity even stronger than it is already. And as a result of that, I think it'll be a pretty good deal. So keep an eye on Paylocity. I think that and Ceridian. Ceridian has entered back into the market with a really hot Dayforce-related product that they acquired a front end that's just doing extremely well. And their platform doesn't matter who you are and how big you are, we want you going to be on our platform forever, which is what exactly ADP is trying to do. But they figured out it's going to take them, are you ready for this, $3 trillion to make it happen. So, I don't even think they've made that much over their lifetime. So keep an eye on Paylocity. NetSuite has come to the table. They have a very moderate HCM offering, but a very strong ERP. They're head-to-head with a Sage and so on, and they are certainly owned by Oracle, and they'll probably be part of the Oracle family. And again, I've been asked to meet with their folks about what their marketing is all about and what they're trying to do in terms of positioning. So I'm getting in front of what I call more than just startup vendors, finally. Seva Exchange, which was the volunteer system I spoke to, they are actually being used for a couple of campaigns, believe it or not, with the whatever 22 candidates are out there still out there on the Democratic side. A couple of them are picking it up as a volunteer thing. But I want to say I have a great deal of hope for this particular one, especially in relationship to what I mentioned about the Cal Kappa. The volunteer perspective and what they can do with the profiling of an individual, who they are, what they're using in terms of services and what they know, and therefore could be of service to the community, could be a pretty strong thing. So we'll be seeing Seva Exchange come back to the table under probably, maybe, hopefully up at the consulting side and not just a vendor. I'm going to put a plug for Alex. I did an email to many of my people that I know about their websites if they need to do something. And Alex, I'll let you speak to the fact that you're getting some traction. You've gotten a couple of people that I've referred over to you doing it. I will say that Alex is making a really terrific impression on people in terms of what he's doing for their websites. And I'm going to be a big fan and say that I like my website for the reason. So if you've got ideas about people you'd like to refer Alex to, be my guest. You want to add to that, Alex?
No, yeah, it's tough to add to that. I appreciate the compliments very much, and it's a pleasure to work with you. Someone had asked about or had mentioned the video that we had created when you were in Las Vegas the last time, and I think that I could add to that we are doing some stuff on the vendor side that we just started doing, which is exciting. Let you explain that more. But yeah, it's been a great fun, and I hope that we can continue to add content on an ongoing basis. And I think that's one of the best ways that we can direct traffic to the site that way.
Right, and we'll be talking very next slide on the website and what we're trying to do with that. So, but I do want to mention the Technology Review Council. I've got the month of August pretty much filled. September is starting to fill up as well. I'm starting to get a lot more people interested, and we're getting repeats. We had Dotton come back in. We have what was Money Earned is now Spentra. They're coming back. We're going to more than likely have what was OPA Connect coming back as 2020 Insight. Changing the name does not protect the innocent, but they are actually doing some very nice things with the product. So, and we're the first call that they made. They said, we'd like to come back and show it to you guys. So the TRC is starting to make some really nice headway. So what I am going to be doing for the Technology Review Council is I'm putting all of those videos on YouTube on my channel. And I'll explain when we get to the website where we're making changes about the TRC on the website. But I'm giving that library then to people like OHUG and to IREM. They've all said, yes, we'd love access to it, which means people will come through our website to the emerging technology, see what they're going to see, go out to the YouTube, watch the thing, and do whatever they want. Call the vendors, whatever the case may be. The exposure is going to be, I think, that much better. Again, Dan, a lot of that was kind of what the thought process of MapHR. We're just not building any directories or anything of that nature, but this, I think, a very simple way to, if you will, we are not monetizing our YouTube, but we are certainly making the best use of it. So all the way around, this seems to be working in the right direction. So we'll see how that turns out. So I'm going to stop. Questions, comments, anything? If not, I'll go to the next slide. It's like our TRC. No questions, no nothing. No. So Alex and I are working through a website redesign. And so the very first thing that's going to happen is that we're going to get another video on the vendor services like we do with the consulting services. It'll be a lot shorter, a lot crisper, certainly a lot newer looking. I still like the video that I have for the consulting side just because it says everything that I ever needed to say about it. And we still get compliments when people are going out there and going, this is very cool. It explains, instead of reading about it, I hear about it. And it's entertaining. So we're going to do something very similar about the vendors, send them, in a sense, to that site and say, hey, you want to know what we do for you guys then as a vendor? Here's what we do. And the video will explain that. As a result of that, we're also going to be changing the emerging technology and the trending technology web pages. In fact, I should be bringing that up. I brought it up earlier. When we go out here to the vendor services, this is where we're going to have the video. Hello, there we go. Where they're going to come into the vendor consulting service and they'll see a video that'll speak to what we do for the vendors. Right now, it's just verbiage. By the way, under Edge, Alex, this thing takes forever. I wonder if it's me or Edge. I'm not quite sure.
I'll have to take a peek. I can run a little diagnostic on that.
Okay, cool. And then within the context of the Technology Review Council, we're going to leave it the way it is. And we are getting people. It's up to now 220 people, which is a very cool thing. If the CHROs that I'm reaching out to in LinkedIn are not willing to do it themselves, they're usually sending one of their folks to do that. Under the emerging technology, what we're going to do is we're going to rearrange this page a little bit to speak to a categorization of the sorts. Very broad brush, but the idea would be that within these set of logos, I'm going to say, so here's a recruiting thing or an assessment thing or an HCM thing or a reporting thing, whatever it is they do well, I'm going to put that in a category. Then the logo will be there. It'll then take them, if it is a TRC, oops, getting some interesting feedback. You guys hearing me okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So what is going to happen is they're going to look at this and it says lunch pool. There'll be a little small paragraph of what they do. In other words, I've seen these guys and here's what they do. I'm going to create, and Alex is going to help me with this, we're going to have a TRC symbol that says, these guys have been TRC reviewed. If it has that, they'll click on that. It'll take them directly to the YouTube channel, and they can see the video. If they aren't here, I'm going to put logos up here that haven't been TRC reviewed, but I guarantee you the people that haven't been will be down towards the bottom. I guarantee you we're going to be selling to them because they're going to hear that things are happening on the YouTube channel. People are watching things. They're getting lots of views and so on. So, and there's a couple of them here that have not been through the TRC before. And see, like I say, OPA Connect, they've changed their name to 2020 Insight. I need to change that. So there'll be a couple of new changes here. But this is an area there that people can come to, understand a little bit of what they're doing. So what does Lunchpool do? Well, Lunchpool connects people to have lunch together. And those of us who went through the TRC with them were not overly impressed, but nonetheless, they're here. So this is exactly what it is. It's going to be a content library of sorts that's going to tell people and help people to get to where they want to, especially if all they want to do is know about stuff. If they don't know, they haven't been to a TRC meeting, here's a great way to find it out. We'll do the same thing for the trending as well. So we will have a YouTube library. They'll have lots and lots of videos on there. So any questions, any comments on that?
Sounds good, Nov.
Okay. So the other thing we want to do, and this is where it comes back to you guys. So this is the good news. So Alex and I have talked a lot about creating one more page out there. And I'm not sure what for lack of a better term, we're going to call it trusted service providers, but we'll come up with something better. I think Alex, when we talked last time, partners with the word we settled on. But the idea is that this page are people that I know, people I interact with, colleagues I respect, people who have services and products, if you will, that I would recommend to anyone. Alex will be there. Jennifer, you will be there. Tracy Kawa's products will be there. Stuff that Stacy would do. Carrie's career site audit or scorecard. All those things will be out there as a list of services. Now, I don't know what else I'm going to do with them except to say that if you go on this page, the reason you're here is because I believe in what you're doing. And then what I'm asking them to do is contact me if you like what you're hearing. So I'm going to leave it to each of you to think about what you would like to put out here if you have anything. My brother's got a management training class he does all the time. That's going to be out there. So you guys are going to, and I'll tell you, Jennifer, it was the marketplace that gave me this idea. You guys will maintain what's out there for you. If you change it, that's great. If you don't change it, that's fine. But I want them to come and talk to me about it so that I can guide them through the process about what they're looking for. And they just keep me in the loop, if you will, but it also allows me to really, really guide them to the right product, service, whatever it is they're looking for. I am hoping that this is a very well-visited page, that people will come out here. So if you've got a pet idea that you want to do. Now, I ran into a company that actually will take your thought leadership and turn it into a course, but it costs $15,000 to do it. They will help to market it. I don't know that it's, yeah, exactly. Thank you. Was that the parrot or was that you, Jeff? No.
That was me. He teaches me things over breakfast every morning. That was one.
That would do. So no, I was astounded. They will take your thought leadership, your blogs and so on and help you create a course. They've got course designers and real, learning platform types of people in their back pocket, and it'll only take you, 3 to 4 months to get the course out the door, and they'll market it for you, and it'll only cost you about $15,000. I'm going, nope. So even something as simplistic as a very quick video, a video blog or something of interest. So anyway, that was it. Was there a question out there? I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is Tim.
Hey.
Question. How you doing? Sorry, I'm not on the thing, but I'm in a remote kind of place here.
No, that's okay. No problem.
In this area, are you interested in some nonprofit kind of stuff on that page and whatnot? I could see some real opportunity in some training with nonprofit.
If they're a trusted service, that's my point. Is I don't want to be the next Angie's List of everything. I want to be very, very kind of strict about who I put on there because I'm putting Collective HR Solutions, if you will, and Nov Omana's reputation on the line. But everyone that's in this call is our trusted people that I endorse. I like what they do. I trust them enough to do the right things for the people. So the answer is I'm very open to that. Absolutely. If it's outside of the HCM space, so that's the other question is, does it make any more sense to have something that's not HR related on the site? And that's a conversation I think I'd want to have.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I see the connect within that with this, kind of like in the SIVA space we had, it's the same kind of connect as that, and it would be somebody who's credible. I guess that's the best way to put it. So
okay, you and I, we got next week to talk about all this stuff. So yeah. But no, it's a good idea. We'll chat it through and see. And the same thing with anybody in this crowd here, both individually or in concert with somebody else is fine. I just want to know that you guys are invested in it, that you think that this is the right thing to do, and you would step up. So if it's not your product or your service, but again, I'd be very, very careful about expanding it too far. So, if you got an idea, bring it to the table. Let's talk about it. But Alex is going to help me figure out what's the smart way to do it. Now, I'll be selfish and tell you that one of the things I think I would want to do, and again, this can be make it or break it, but my feeling is I probably ought to take a little portion off the top. So we can do a couple of things. They can write the contract through you, and you can just send me a referral, or you can just have it under Collective HR Solutions, and I'll pay you minus the referral. So there's a couple of ways to do it. We'll have to talk about each one of those. I don't want to take away your brand. That's not my point. I think that putting you out on the website and say these are people I would endorse in a heartbeat is probably all I need to do. So, thoughts, questions? No? Okay. All right. Well, that was good enough. So that's my status as of today. So let's talk a little bit about what else you think we ought to be considering doing, talking about, or whatever. I'm going to encourage you guys again. I'm getting a lot of play on blogs I'm doing. And I forgot to mention, new format for the TRC. The moment I convert that video, I'm writing a blog right behind it. And it's going out, and it's pushing people to the YouTube video saying, if you go out there, you'll see this blog says, I like the color blue. I did that for Dutton. And that was sent it off to Ganesh, the CEO. He loved it. And we're already getting lots of hits on the website, on the YouTube channel. So,
Nov, can you pull up that particular blog post to show us, just so we all see it?
Sure. That's a good idea. The show and tell, it really does tax my brain as far as I can. Okay. Alex is the one that continues to inspire me to do the blog. So if you love it, give him the credit. If you don't, yell at me.
You got to tell them about our what was it, our talk to text conversation.
That's a whole other. Yeah. Oops. Where'd I go there? We went to the other. How do I go back to that one?
It's going to just shuffle through them, so you can click on I like the color blue towards the right.
Okay, let's go to the next one here. Oh, there. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Love the new blog format. That looks great.
It's very nice. Like I say, Alex continues to keep things popping very, very. Oops. That was your article. Sorry.
I'm sure you did that intentionally. Thank you.
I did, exactly. So it's to prompt you. Write another blog. All right, as soon as I bring it up here. So who knows some good jokes in between? Yeah, like I say, Edge doesn't seem to do it for me. Okay, so let's go to read the article. I do like the graphics that Alex has been putting out there. He's been very thoughtful about how that all comes about. So anyway, it took me a whopping 10 minutes to do this. And that's why I say, I'm going to encourage you all, if you got ideas about a blog, please. The channels seem to be getting some really good traction. So I talked about what I did with Dutton the first time I met him and why I liked it. Here's what they do, blah, blah, blah. Here's a quick shot, and no, let me take you out to the YouTube channel. There we go. And away we go. And there it is. And so this will also be, this particular video here is going to be the one that's going to be sitting on the YouTube that I push people out of emerging technology page straight to. So I'm even thinking that maybe the blog itself will be sufficient and I don't have to write any more. So we'll see. But if you guys want to use the power of the blog, I'm going to encourage you. We've got some good channels set up. I'm going to ask you, if you've not done it, please go out and join the Collective HR Solutions group on LinkedIn. If you're not linked in with one another, please do so. And if you tweet, maybe you can teach the parakeet to tweet, or something like that. But if you do tweet, mention things like this. This shows up on Twitter or on the likes and the LinkedIn and that all helps. All of it does. And, so your blog, Jennifer, continues to get likes out there all the time. So there's just a lot of power out there, and Alex is the one that's been driving this, and I have to admit to him, it's working very, very well. So the nice thing about the Dotton thing is that if you didn't take the Dotton assessment test, the link is here. What happens, Dotton's getting people registering for the assessment, and they're taking it, and then they're watching the video, and it's like, wow, this is me. And it explains everything about it. So it's a nice little closed system that we're now putting together. I think any of the vendors that I'm doing pilots with or suggesting trials for, they're going to get some pretty good traction out of the website. So questions, comments? Okay. So anybody else have comments or things that I ought to be thinking about, or what you guys ought to be thinking about? If not, I just bought you 17 minutes back in your day. Go to lunch.
Yeah, all right. So I'll bite. So are you guys we doing a newsletter? Or are you sort of like, you know what, until this group starts really stepping up to the blog, I'm not sure newsletters in the future?
Okay, that's a good question. So I'm going to let Alex comment, because he knows my feelings about how well I am geared to do a newsletter. But he's been urging me to grab all my contacts from all the different sources, which is not the easiest process. By the way, if you don't tell an Outlook contact that you get an email from that they are an Outlook contact, you don't get a contact out of it. So, so I have to go back to a fairly lengthy process to bring people back to the table as contacts. But if we had a couple of thousand people in a newsletter, I'd even just take this blog and the link to the video and say, hey, here, we just did a couple of reviews of vendors. Here they are. Boom. If nothing else, here's what's going on. It'd be a microcosm of what we just talked about today in a much more generic fashion of what's going on in Collective HR Solutions.
Yeah.
And you guys could easily be part of that. Absolutely a part of that.
And on your Technology Review Council, presumably you record those webinars. Those could be sliced and diced and put into a little nugget that you could incorporate into the newsletter.
Right.
As a tease.
I'm not a big fan of great deal of frequency of the newsletter per se. They just I get so many things in my daily mail. It's like, oh crap, just file it.
Absolutely. But like once a month.
Yeah, the little headlines really do help if they're interesting, but I think what I'd like to be able to do, and again, for many of you that are sitting on this call, you are part of that Technology Review Council. If you are going to be attending, my thoughts are I'm in a position to start talking about some trending. I'm seeing more and more recruiting assessments come out of the woodwork, and there's a differentiation in the approach. We saw Career Place 2 weeks ago. It was all about unbiased hiring. Well, how do they do that? Why is that any different than anybody else's? So each one of these has a sense of uniqueness to them. But if I take a step back, I'm seeing some things that are either gelling well or differentiating like crazy. And why is that? And like I say, you guys could see the same thing I'm seeing in these videos and go, wow, he's right, or no, I don't agree. No, I have absolutely no problem of disagreements between ourselves, because that puts different perspectives on the table, and that's what it's all about. So, feel free, like I say, if you want to shoot a blog out my way, those things will eventually become part of newsletters. As I say, Jennifer, you wrote a really great blog. I'm going to put that in the newsletter. And Bruce, you did this, and Amanda, you did that, and so on. All those kind of things. I want to say that if we do this well, this brain trust that just happens to sit under this umbrella called Collective HR Solutions is doing a lot of stuff. They're all over the place. They're seeing stuff. They're contributing stuff. They're observing and making recommendations, or at least trending things, or saying, hey, watch out for this. And, Tim, I know you and I have had many discussions. You've got a very strong perspective, if you will, and bias, if you will, on privacy and security. Our conversation should be, in fact, we've talked about even doing a little podcast on that, because we get in some pretty healthy discussions that ought to be broadcast. Whether people agree or not, it's getting it out there to get some dialogue going. So I am wide open. I know Alex is very prepared for more stuff coming at him. We're wired to make this happen. So, and you guys I want you to be part of it. You need to be part of it. So,
if I could add something, Nov.
Sure, please.
I just want to impress upon everyone the importance. Again, you mentioned, Nov, it's an ordeal to organize all of your contacts into one place. I get it, totally. But once we do that, we have several thousand records somewhere. We have this great power to send content and to be top of mind for people of which you currently are not in touch with. And I think that you've obviously done some business, you've obviously met. Something has occurred that you have a form of a relationship with whoever these contacts are. And I think that it's a big a loss for us if we do not set up some process by which we are in touch on some kind of frequency. I think for the most part it should be informational. We should not be trying to sell anything per se. I heard a great quote once that said 80% PBS, what was it? 80% PBS, 20% QVC. So let's not try to push, sales constantly. However, I think that, as you said, you have a brain trust. You have a lot of people involved in your organization, especially on the advisory board. Content can reach many people if we were to target and write relevant content to the person's industry. And I think that it could potentially be a business, good business decision, and something that makes money for the advisory board.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. Comments, anyone? Okay. Well, I'm gonna check between now and the next advisory board meeting how many of you have taken that to heart. We won't publicly shame you, but in the advisory board we may. So anyway, so please, again, whatever you can do, if you've got any ideas, I'm wide open to you guys. I'm where I am today because of you guys. And I continue to think that this is the energy where my career is going to come from. Continues to grow, keeps morphing into something new, and it's because you guys have got some great thinking. So, and whatever I can do to help you guys, same thing. It goes, I'm here to help. So, all right, everyone.
I have a great idea. Free parrot with every 5th blog post. Now, if that doesn't get everybody really going, I don't know what's going.
You just have to pay the shipping charges from New Jersey.
Oh no, I'll deliver him.
I don't know, Jennifer. I think I want one of your margaritas.
I know. I was waiting for her to say a free mom for every blog, but no, that. All right, everyone. Well, thank you very much.
Do that, Bruce.
Yeah, great.
All right.
All right, you guys take care.
You take good care.
Right.
Everyone, travel safe. We'll be talking soon. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.